Hi, my name is Jessie Egan and I'm an essay coach for College Matchpoint. And what I'm going to talk about today is about free writing, which is something I use with a lot of my students, especially in the early stages of the process. So one of the things that I do with students is I ask them to, for the first draft, to not even think about word count and not even think about transitions or how the pieces are going to fit together. Once we've come up with a kind of idea, all I want them to do is just write, and to write whatever comes to their mind without editing, and I want them to give me as much detail as possible. And what I find is really freeing about this free writing process is that it helps you generate a lot of details that you wouldn't otherwise kind of come across if you're just thinking about okay, how do I fit this into an outline? And often you find that you'll be describing things with a lot more with more vibrant images, or with better language, or you'll remember details that you weren't even thinking about when you thought of the example, and just generating a lot of that content and not being afraid of really writing can be really helpful for kind of pulling out the pieces that are best. It's like when you get a little bit of distance from it, you can go back to those free writes and figure out oh, this seems like a really great example of this, or this feels like a really great way of putting this. And so I use a lot of that free writing where there's just no judgment and no self-editing, none of that voice in your head where you're trying to make it sound perfect, to kind of really just free yourself from those constraints. And you will often be really surprised, especially if you start off feeling stuck, you'll often be really surprised by what free writing can kind of unlock for you. So that is my tip.